It's Accountech Bytes, your whistle-stop wander through the week of accounting tech with me, Tom Herbert. Thanks for tuning in, and if you find this useful, why not like, subscribe, or follow, depending on your platform of choice. Loads to get through this week, so let's get straight into it. And we'll start with the revenues AI rollout here. So Simon Price, Director of Insight AI and Innovation at HMRC, has taken to LinkedIn to announce the largest Microsoft 365 Copilot rollout in the UK government, beginning with 32,000 licenses this year and rising to 50,000 by 2026. A Copilot license is $30. According to today's interest rates, £23.10 times 50,000. It's about 1.1 million. I'm not sure who's in charge of procurement. Hopefully they've managed to negotiate a bulk discount. According to Price, this investment came from a pilot that projected a 2 million hour personal productivity saving every year. It's great to see people like Simon talking about projects like these. What would be fascinating is to get a bit more detail as this goes on in terms of what they're using it for and whether the project is actually delivering on that 2 million hour time saving target. Our friends at Going Concern reports that Deloitte has agreed to a $6 million settlement deal after the Rhode Island public benefit system it built was hacked, with sensitive claimant details leaked onto the web. So Deloitte has agreed to pay the settlement after someone using Deloitte credentials breached the system in 2024, but with the caveat that the Big Four firm denies all liability and wrongdoing. The law is confusing sometimes. With the UK budget due next month, one of the hot ticket items for tech nerds is around e-invoicing, and trade association Tech UK has published an open letter calling on the government to unlock the benefits that e-invoicing can bring to the UK economy. Tech vendors calling for more tech. Let's head over to quite a substantial AI Inglenook this week, and we'll start with our friends at VatCalc, who report that AI-generated VAT rulings lost a Polish company about a €4 million contract. So what was intended to be a clever shortcut in a public tender by Xdrog for road maintenance, I think, turned out to be a spectacular own goal. The government thought that the bid was abnormally low, so dug into the details and found that a lot of the VAT rulings that justified the tender were actually made up by a machine, causing the company to be excluded from the contract. Yikes. Well, I guess it was inevitable for an organization literally called the AI CPA. The American Institute of CPAs has created an artificial intelligence tool, Yossi. They've named it after Josiah Wedgwood, 18th century potter and the father of cost accounting. I actually went to university in Stoke, and I'm pretty sure it's Josiah Wedgwood. So I'm going with Josie. I've got distracted. Let's get back to the tool. So it draws on the AICPA's online professional library, so more than 40,000 accounting and auditing materials. CPAs, management accountants, and their staff can use it to help generate engagement letters, research accounting questions, prepare for quality management standards changes, and lots more. And here's a new tool, Abacore. So it's founder David Lamb posting about it here. So he worked at Deloitte, PwC, and Crowe before founding Abacore, which is an AI assistant purpose-built for accounting firms designed to remove the admin across the entire meeting process. So things like agendas, insights, and then syncing everything into a firm's practice management software. I think our friends at Vinyl might contest the claim that it's the world's first AI assistant for accountants, but the functionality all sounds good. Global audit platform Audit Board has announced the launch of Accelerate, an AI automation tool for GRC teams. Obviously, I knew what GRC teams stood for. I definitely didn't have to Google it, but apparently it's governance, regulation, and compliance teams. There you go, save you a Google. So Accelerate consolidates Audit Board's newest AI capabilities into a single experience. So it's their audit agent, continuous monitoring and auditing, and document intelligence. And rounding off the AI Inglenook section, if you haven't taken the Accounting Web and Sage survey on AI in the accounting profession, please do so. You can find a link to it, along with everything else featured, in the description. In contrast to AI Inglenook, it's a fairly bijou MTD corner this week. Just one item. David from ClearBooks was very keen that I let everyone know that ClearBooks had been fully HMRC recognised for MTD for income tax, enabling landlords, sole traders, accountants, and bookkeepers to keep digital records, send quarterly updates, and make that end of year tax return. Let's get on to some new stuff now. Don't call it a comeback, but serial accounting tech founder Dwayne Jackson is back. He of Cashflow and Staffology fame. He returns this time with Sodium, a practice management platform that's launched with proposals, engagement letters, workflow, and CRM, but with big plans to expand that out to a full accounting suite, offering things like a single ledger, account production, and MTD filing capabilities. Here's a story I picked up from Caseware's CWX conference in London a couple of weeks ago, and the Canadian developer has unveiled 2 additions to its cloud platform: a new group audit and central planning capability, and advanced data analytics. Forecasting app Float has some news. Lots of news, in fact. It's not quite like London buses, but it's more like Bristol buses. You wait ages, and then 4 turn up at once. First up, we have recurring transaction suggestions. So when you add a company to Float, it will automatically analyze the last 3 months of transaction data to identify recurring patterns. You can now create budgets that repeat every 2 months or every 6 months. And if you need to move a budget to a different account, you can now change the account instead of deleting and recreating that budget. Float has also introduced top late payers for invoices and top suppliers paid late for bills to help stay on top of your cash flow. That's available with its Xero integration. And on the back of the late payers release, Smart Expected Dates gives a more realistic view of cash flow based on when customers actually pay. Sticking on the forecasting beat, and Fathom has introduced forecast snapshots. So snapshots lets you freeze any forecast at a point in time without overwriting your budget or losing historical versions. It says here, think of them as time capsules for your forecasts. A couple of quick updates from Iris Elements, and when adding client records, you can now record the date you took the client on. And they've also added the ability to filter the client list according to the practice role assigned to your Iris Elements users. NetGain has announced expanded support for businesses across the UK and Ireland as they prepare for major changes to lease accounting standards under the updated FRS 102. What's new in Excel for October 2025? Well, agent mode in Excel lets you describe a task in natural language and then comes up with how to do that in Excel. As I mentioned in the previous video, don't use this if you need any degree of accuracy. Pivot table spill brings the familiar spill experience from dynamic arrays to pivot tables. I'm literally just reading those words and hoping they mean something to you. There are a couple of updates to the accessibility assistant. And finally, formula by example looks for patterns as the user enters data in the worksheet. And when it recognizes a pattern, formula by example offers a formula to fill the rest of the column with that recognized pattern. Let's pull up to the integration station now, and Sage has partnered with Findity? Not sure. Let me know. Anyway, they partnered as part of a new Sage expenses solution for Sage 50 accounts in the UK. Anti-money laundering tool Smart Search has announced a source of funds solution as part of a partnership with fintech Armalytics. And referrals platform RQ has announced that it will be integrating with CRM tool HubSpot. Now, I mentioned Caseware's CWX conference earlier. While I was there, I spoke to Caseware CEO David Marquis as part of our No Accounting for Tech podcast series. We talked about getting parity between the system's cloud and desktop tools, how to use AI safely, and what his previous career as a gas turbine engine engineer brought to accounting and audit technology. Do check that out by searching for Accounting Web wherever you get your podcasts. And finally, here's a phishing email brain teaser for you. Can you spot what's wrong with this email? If you don't want to know the answer, look away now. It's not corn. Anyway, one thing that's definitely not corny is my accounting technology email. Pop your address in the box, hit the yellow button, and every Thursday you'll be able to keep up to date with the fast-moving world of accounting technology. That's your lot for now. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the beginning, please remember to like, subscribe, or follow. I'll be back next week with another video. Bye for now.